Like George Lucas, we are pushing the limits of technology today. Who knows what will happen? Will it work? Will it not? Sorry for cutting off a little bit earlier than I expected yesterday when I was so focused on the document that when we were like, whoa, what time is it? I saw 2:00 as being we gone for 2 hours.
Don't lie, Jason.
Brains.
You were like, it's Margaritaville.
I was like, later, nerds.
It's time for blue milk.
It's time, if you know what I mean. It's time for daddy's blue milk, if you know what I mean. But yeah, you can't really see it too well in my background here, but I have a photo of the shooting schedule and some concept art on there. This was, I'm going to try to pull it up on my phone and see if this works by some weird chance, but you can see where it says Avco and all of that. And, oh, it's telling me I'm live. I'm live, you guys. So yeah, we are going to sift through this document once again and just kind of break it down a little bit more now that we're a ways out of The Force Awakens. Everybody knows the movie pretty well. There are times, though, when I am confused, which is funny because I believe I concentrated on these documents and the behind the scenes stuff for so long that I start to go, wait, did that end up in the movie? You know, at times. And then and when I watch it, sometimes I put stuff in my brain that wasn't there. Like in 20 years, I'm going to have false memories about the cutscenes. Like, oh, yeah, I saw every single one of them. Of course, it was in the movie when it launched. It's some Mandela effect stuff, guys. But
yeah, this is why, you know, sometimes when they do those, you know, they do those PR tours for films and they're talking to directors or actors about certain scenes. I'm like, yeah, I don't remember. I don't know if I was that. And sometimes folks are like, why don't they know what's in the movie? Why don't they know what's in the movie? I'm like, because they did like fucking 20 shots of that same scene, and I don't know what takes in the film, or you know, like this is why it's sometimes it's just easier to talk to like the writers because they have one or two, maybe 4 drafts tops they have to think about. And they weren't on set every day seeing everything hobbled together in God knows what order. You know?
So, some of them are, though. I will say like I have these same documents for Rogue One, and Christopher McQuarrie, I want to say, was at least
So
during
smart.
the reshoot phase was there, I believe.
McQuarrie's so smart. You ever listen to McQuarrie talk?
No, one time he got really pissed off at me. He was like, I said he was doing the rewrite because I was straight up told by a source, hey, it's being rewritten, blah blah blah. And then I was like, oh well, I had all of the stuff that Christopher McQuarrie had, you know, was there every day and all this stuff like what you're seeing here. And he's like, I didn't rewrite it. Nobody even asked me. And I was like, what am I supposed to do, Christopher McQuarrie? Tweet you don't have your DMs open. Oh, hey, Christopher McQuarrie, are you doing all the rewrites for that big scoop that I'm trying to put out this week? You know, there was like really no way.
Sometimes they forget they used to work at Kinko's, Jason.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I'm not saying he's a jerk or anything like that. And his response, I completely understand it, though. So I want to make that clear, you know.
I do recommend his interviews with Jeff Goldsmith on the Q&A podcast for all the Mission and Valkyrie. He did Valkyrie, which is like 3 hours long, and it's amazing. He can just talk and talk, but it's all fascinating. Great storyteller. Yeah, fantastic creator. But you know, man, maybe on his end he was just like having a good day. Hey, man, I didn't really do that. No. And what you read was, you know, it's hard to
possible.
Say.
Yeah. No, it does. I will say, like, if you, not that any creative like at that level is gonna be watching this show, but if you are or you become one, always remember that, if people can't reach out to you, there's no way for them to get comment, you know. And then
what are they supposed to do? Break NDA?
Break, you know, well, write the public, break NDA, write the publicist who will just go, let me get back to you. Let me get back to you for 20 years.
I worked for a developer that went through some issues this year, and I got my first round of like media people sending me emails into DMs like, hey man, you want to talk about this? And I don't even respond to it, but in my head I'm like, yeah, what do I want to do? Get sued? You know, like you people sign contracts. Like, what am I supposed to do? Like, you know, like what am I supposed to say? Like, There's a $10,000 fine right there just for saying something. So.
Right. And Thrawn Talk says, send me the link to join. Sorry, dude, not today. I'd love to have you on, actually. It would be great, but I don't think the computer can handle it, unfortunately. And then
the podcast is that cool.
Kane is looking for, yeah, it's this Mac. It's a 2019 Mac. It's like, I'm not really ready to go drop down a couple $1,000 on a 2021 Mac, considering this one is not that old. But I think it's more of the StreamYard app, honestly, than anything, because I record audio and edit video on this thing, and it's fine. But Geek Furious says, I love how Jason gets blamed for the Christopher McQuarrie mistake. Teesh. That was around the 2016-ish, right? I want to say 2015.
It's McHugh. So
McHugh.
That's what Tom Cruise calls him. McHugh.
McHugh, how's it going, dude? How's your thinking levels, bro? You doing good? Like that kind of stuff.
Does call him, yeah, he really does. He's always super energized. Hey, man, when you go to work and you don't want to be there, and someone's super energized, it does help. Really? So there is something to that. It looks crazy when he's the only person on TV doing it, but on the set, I'm sure it helps.
Yeah. It just makes me wanna see them fall down the stairs. Like that's what it does for me. But that's cool. If it works for you, that's cool too. No. No. I mean, it is
Never
much better.
Work with Jason on a creative project. Only podcast, God.
Unless everyone's doing heroin, because it's a Velvet Underground remake, or not remake.
Have you watched Jedi Party yet?
Okay, let's see what happens when I pull this up, and let's see if it continues to work. So, really quickly, this is from Avco, which was J.J. Abrams' production company for this movie. That was also where he saw Return of the Jedi in '83. So, we see the Millennium Falcon reveal Han Solo and Chewie. He asks Kira where Millennium Falcon has been. And that's kind of what happens, right? Han is happy to be back, spots something new he doesn't like. That's the compressor shot, I believe. Han wants them gone off his ship. Han checks out his baby. Won't be swayed by... Wait, is when Han spots something he doesn't like, is that Finn's stormtrooper passed by the boots? I think it might be.
No, I think that was just more like it was an addition to the ship or something. It's like a comedic moment.
Yeah.
Hey, what'd you do to my ship?
Han checks out his baby. Won't be swayed by their story. Chewbacca sending them off until Finn mentions a key word. So you know what that key word is, you guys, right? Luke Skywalker.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. Really quickly, right here. I don't know if you could see that or not, but some of the code names, I didn't get to them yesterday, and we changed them in this document so you can understand it. But like number 1 was pilot. Then you had Queen, Queen is Leia. Original Warrior, that's old Luke. Kira, who becomes Rey. Finn, who becomes Finn. JK, Jedi Killer, that's Kylo Ren. Poe is just Poe. Rose becomes Maz Kanata.
Tico.
Yeah, tall guy was Chewbacca. Skinny guy was 3PO. The general was Hux. Uber, not the car company. Uber is Snoke. And then little guy. I can't remember if little guy was R2 now. Yeah.
Oh no.
BB-8. He was straight called BB-8. Wounded Buddy Village, the Vicar, Junk Dealer, Junk Minion 1, Snow Buddy. That was one of the snowtroopers. Main Street Bully. That's the guy that gets his butt kicked by Rey. Scared Villager, Captain Phasma, Funhouse Colonel, which I'm not sure who the Funhouse Colonel was, honestly. That one is like the Colonel. H of M Barman. Evil Castle Tech. The Evil Castle is Starkiller Base, by the way. Evil Castle Tech 1. Brant's, Pirate 1, 2, and 3. Pirate Admiral. And the pirates, though, are rebels, for the record. So, anyways, to get back to it, Han checks out his baby, won't be swayed by their story. Chewbacca's sending them off until Finn mentions the key word. And Finn gets to talk Han around. Chessboard alive, noise outside. And that noise outside is that's the Conjure Club, I believe, right? Yeah.
Conjure Club.
Unwanted guest on video. He reveals what his cargo is. And yeah, that one, I remember that one was a very strange one because it was a big mystery for a long time. What's the cargo? And we didn't see any concept art for the monsters that were inside. I don't know if I don't think we did see them. And a photo came out of Bob Iger though in front of the cargo, and that's when we were like, okay, so this cargo ship is very big. Han explains what they're carrying. Finn gets a fright. And this is all in the freighter corridors. Han gives them explosives. Plan hatch. Kids go below. And that was strangely, we guessed that right. The kids go below in the Falcon compartment.
You think it would have been too fancy? Because I know a lot of people complained about those roly-poly monsters. Right? The roly-polies. And
yeah.
Do you think if they had gone something more fan servicey, like baby Rancors?
I hate that.
You know,
I really hate that.
But do you think people would have been like, "That was all right"? Like,
no, I think you either have that love of monster movies and eccentricities in Star Wars, or you don't. And if you don't, no one's gonna make that work for you. And I always love I love the monster moments. Like, I actually am a fan of them. I know you're not like a huge Rancor guy, but like I dig that. And they cut out
the Rancor. I'm a problem with the way they did it.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. The technique. But I like the monster stuff too. You know, so I'm not saying that's what they should have done. I'm just saying, like, if they had gone with something more fan servicey, do you think that people would have probably just complained, right? This is nothing new. And then when there's something new, I don't like the new stuff. Like,
yeah. No, I'm really glad that they didn't. And those monsters, they actually, at Disneyland anyway, they sell them as babies, and they sell pretty well. They kind of vibrate in a questionable way though.
They're flippers.
Yeah. Han explains what they're carrying, blah blah blah. Kira and Finn move through the crawl space. Mod leader isn't buying Han's story. Talk of two timing. So it's like calling him a mod. And I'm guessing that it, like, they have kind of different designations because he was maybe from like a different gang. Like, it was two gangs who were meeting up to deal with Han. He had double crossed both of them. And so there was gonna be like a whole West Side Story musical number that was cut. No, just kidding. Han's story falls through as rockers appear. And I think the rockers are Conjure Club.
Shawn Michaels and Marty Jannetty.
Kira and Finn realize that Han is in deep trouble. Han pretends he's glad to see the rockers. And Kira points to circuit breakers, explains what they do. Both gangs laughing. Time is running out for Han. Kira says, hit them all. They whack all the fuses. Cargo released. Chaos all around. They all run. Explosions all around. Finn and Kira see gang member is dragged. Han, Chewie, BB-8 run. Gang almost gets them. Cargo helps out. Gang member runs past. Finn and Kira clamber out. Cargo grabs hold of Finn. This is when Finn gets... God, what are they called? Chat, I am drawing a blank on what they are called. And it is very dumb of me. Raftars.
I only remember because it reminded me of Reptile from the kids show as
Rugrats.
Reptile.
Yeah.
It's Reptiles.
So yeah, Han and Chewie try to get into a hangar under fire. Finn is being dragged. Kira battles gangs by hand. And by the way, right here, I remember, I believe it was this line. Finn is still being dragged along. I think when I put that one out, I may have rewritten the lines to obscure it, but it was something just like that. I don't think I even rewrote that one.
So Finn
Everyone,
posted something online that didn't go well.
no, everyone started going like, this guy sounds like an asshole. This guy's supposed to be a stormtrooper. He sucks. And I was just like, well, stormtroopers kind of get their ass kicked a lot, but
like,
but
what part?
it was kind of like
stormtroopers suck. I mean,
yeah,
did they not see Return of the Jedi? Like,
yeah, any of them for that matter. But yeah,
especially Jedi.
Yeah, there was like people, who decided like, oh, I'm gonna get in on this being my favorite thing early. No, I've been a Finn fan since there was ever a Finn fan. And then they're like, so I have a right to be mad. Finn fans are mad. But
sell the shirt, Finn fans.
Finn fans mad. But yeah, it was I'm just like, guys, I'm like, it's an action movie. I'm like, if this was Indiana Jones, you would be saying the same thing. It doesn't. And it really sucked though, because it put me in a position where I felt like if I said anything, then it would get distorted into this weird fan anxiety, which then gave me anxiety about reporting anything. You know what I mean? Because I'm just like, geez, like I would like report on like the coolest moment, and then you'd have somebody who would just like freak out. And at that time, I hadn't learned yet that it's obvious that you can't please everybody, but I hadn't learned that yet. I thought everybody's reasonable if you just talk to them.
Jason was Luke in A New Hope. And by The Last Jedi, you became Luke from The Last Jedi.
I'm like, burn it down, burn the internet, burn the sacred internet text down. It's all trash. Yeah. So Finn is still being dragged along, right? Kira battles gangs by hand. Chewie gets hit. Han goes mental, firing back. Kira ends the fight, sees Finn on screen, works out the door controls. Door frees Finn. And that one was very obvious to put together that the door did a Rancor move. That's how I interpreted it. Back together again. Kira is modest. The cargo is taken out by the pre-placed bang. Our team all scrambled and raced up to the Millennium Falcon. Han tells Finn to look after Chewbacca. Kira heads back up front. Millennium Falcon starts to power up.
You think their initial code for Millennium Falcon was MF, and then someone had to tell them what that meant?
No, no, it was the carousel, actually.
Oh.
And what was very confusing to me at the time was I had blueprints for both of them. But what they had done was they had built a large carousel and a small carousel. Big Falcon, small Falcon. And we were like, literally like, is this sounds batshit, but is there a smaller Millennium Falcon in this movie? Like, is there like another model and it's tinier? Like, we hated the idea and we're like, there's no way they're this crazy. But later on, we figured out that the smaller one was used for far away shots, probably on Dakwar, when you see, the one like in the distance at times. That was our takeaway, or maybe even Abu Dhabi. I can't remember where they used it now. But yeah, it was just it was like the one for the far away horizon stuff, And they even did interesting things, by the way, that I just remembered from having the blueprints for the Dakwar base, where they had made holes in the ground to puppeteer Maz Kanata. And so I don't know if they were going to use a puppet as the stand-in and then replace it with the CGI character later on. Or if there was like, what if we decided to do it with a puppet? I don't know. But when you do see that live action Maz Kanata that they made so people knew what she looked like on set, that thing was really good. So I could kind of see them.
I wish it was a live.
But they didn't use her. They ended up moving her, not taking her there.
Her design just wasn't. I'm like, why is this? It was basic by CGI standards compared to the Gungans, like in my opinion. Like it's a round face with big eyes. Like, I don't. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I found it to be effective. I liked her character, but I also in the weirdest way feel like Maz Kanata is kind of like the Jar Jar problem, in that we invest time in her, she appears to be very important and then feels very irrelevant with no larger idea for her or no bigger story arc or
I thought for
thing for her to
certain
do.
the Solo movie she would have been a part of that. You know?
Me too. That's what I used to say. I'm like, they mentioned that she's known Han for years. And I was like, yeah, that was a strange missed opportunity in a way, like if she had played a part in him getting off of Corellia or something like that, had given him, some of the cash.
Someone was reporting at the time that they were like, well, Lupita wasn't available. I'm like, who cares? Like, look, I get she's a great actress, but she's not synonymous with this voice.
Well,
this isn't like, it's not like when Idris Elba does Knuckles, you're going to know it's Idris Elba.
Yeah. But it's also not like they couldn't have had somebody stand in like how they did for Andy Serkis at times and then have her do the voice or even mocap her again for further, it was, I think it was possible, but it was just bizarre.
She could be in a closet, pretend to be an Ugnaught, and it still works. I mean, they got time.
Yeah, they can make, they have the technology. They have the $6 million to make that work. Anyways, the cargo is taken out to pre-place Bing. Kira. Okay, 151. Han tells Finn to look after Chewbacca. Millennium Falcon starts to power up. Cargo friend lands on the window. That was the Rathtar landing on the front window. Remember, I reported that too, and I got like, this sounds slapsticky. I was like, yeah, pretty much.
Or like the Minox.
It's completely something that would happen in Star Wars. That's not like breaking, I don't know, this isn't the right term, but the fourth wall of Star Wars by doing that. Gang members fire at the Millennium Falcon, damaging it. Under fire, Han calls up to hang on back there. Finn trying to help Chewbacca with first aid kit. And then also that right there, when I reported this part of it, that he's healing him or, helping him, I was like, oh, now he's just a doctor. Like, they were hard, man. I mean, no, sometimes I think like, I'm like, man, you were too thin skinned back then.
This Sega sucks. I don't even know why you're like, everything's just, he's a doctor. Now he's just switching, first he's a medic and then he's a sniper and then he switches, now he's the tank. What is it? Pick a role. We're all on the team here. Just pick a role and stick with it.
Yeah, I mean, it's like, geez, man, and like, because I do feel like when I report a spoiler, like I never liked it when people report a spoiler like that fucking dumb. I'm like, you know what? If you don't respect it, you don't love it. If you're not trying to understand it and like it, and if you're not rooting for it, you shouldn't report on it. Like
next thing you know, Chewbacca's gonna swing on a vine and make the Tarzan sound.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. But so like, but like the whole time I'm like, am I doing this? Am I doing this wrong? And I never done it before.
You need the handbook, like in Beetlejuice, the guide to the afterlife, right? It's the guide to spoiler drops or scoopers, right? Am I doing step 1 in 3? Step 3, internet rages at me. Oh, okay, no, I'm doing it right.
Yeah, pretty much. A really big film blogger reached out to me and was like, hey, if you're not making him mad, you're not doing it right. I was like, okay.
Was it Harrison Ford?
No, I said it like Harrison Ford.
I'm making him mad, kid. You're not doing it right.
It was he sounds way nerdier than that, but I do love that guy. He's great. Under fire, Han calls up to hang on back there, blah 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 blah. Full speed, cargo ripped off the windshield. Millennium Falcon blast away from the freighter. Head Mod sees the Millennium Falcon leave, makes a little phone call. So one thing about that Head Mod thing and making the little phone call that we'll get into that now. So originally he calls the First Order and tells them to meet him at his coordinates, at his rendezvous point, if you will, if you want to get all Star Warsy about it. And so Conja Club shows up with the First Order, and I don't think Kylo Ren is there, at least not at first. And Phasma is the one who answers the call, and they have a big fight with everybody. And you were going to see the Conja Club guys get taken out, But when Harrison Ford had his accident, they had to reschedule everything, so they weren't able to bring the raid guys back. And so that's why you have them sort of in this weird glorified cameo without the follow-up to their actual demise.
And I love those two films, man. Like
Mhm.
they're like everyone's like John Wick's my thing. To Raid 1 and 2 is my thing. Like,
Raid 1 and 2, yeah.
Yeah, they're not even. It's like the Godfather, Godfather 2 of action films for me. I'm like, all right, this is my jam, and I was so excited. And I'm like, they did it again. They put him in the film, and then that's it. Like
Yeah.
Bummer.
Yeah, it would be nice if they brought them back in some way and gave them,
I was hoping they put all the raid guys as the Knights of Ren.
right.
Like
Yeah.
wow.
Yeah, and when that was very first announced that they were involved, that was a question. Are they the Knights of Ren or are they the gang? Which we know the answer to now. Reveal the evil castle for the first time. Vehicle heading in, Uber. So that right there, this was kind of confusing because they did the stuff that ended up, I believe, being moved over to Rogue One for Vader's castle was, I believe, done for The Force Awakens. Pretty sure anyway. Pretty sure it started that way. And they had this giant medieval looking Nockmar from Willow looking castle at times.
Man, that would be awesome.
And they're evil. And so we thought either Luke Skywalker is in the castle, and that piece of concept art, I don't know if you can bring this up. If you can't pull it up, can you pull up that piece of concept art with Leia, I'm sorry, with Rey being held by Kylo, if that's possible?
Yeah, let's see if I can switch over to.
Yeah,
you have to switch on. You have to click on it.
Yeah, I'll
screen.
I have the power. Let me know when it's up. Okay, so all right, well, okay,
and
so
here's the pure rev. So which one are we looking at here?
That one of it wouldn't have been in the zip file. It would have been one of the ones I tweeted to you.
This right here.
Well, there you go. There's one of them, and I remember thinking,
that looks so much cooler.
And like I said, that's what I think becomes the Mustafar, because you can see the lava is Mustafar, and I even was saying, is this Mustafar? At the time,
having the First Order be Vader's castle as the setup, dude. So you're aware of that game, Destiny?
Yeah, but really quickly, this is the one I'm talking about right here. Okay. That one, see, and if you could see Finn, no. It's Kylo holding her. I DM'd it to you actually. But anyways, you could see it on my screen, my little screen right here, how he's holding her. They're in a castle, and you could see Finn, Maz Kanata, and BB-8 behind, who are there to rescue her. So we weren't sure if this was going to. We weren't sure if there was going to be a crazy castle on the Starkiller planet with the weapon, or if it was going to be on Octu or whatever. But it made us. But you could see that they had these castles on the brain at the time, and kind of bummed that the stuff that they ended up going with. And then ultimately, I think what they did keep was the castle for Maz Kanata. I'm not so sure she always had. I'm not sure she was so sure she always had a castle as her location. I almost think it was like, well, we can make it the castle. That'd be cool, right? If she turned a castle into a bar. And because a lot of the early stuff for the bar stuff, it appeared like it was on Jakku. And even stuff of her finding the lightsaber appeared to be on Jakku or even Tatooine. But concept art, it's you don't want to read too far into it, but when you see 45 pictures set in a location over months of time, it starts to show a pattern and what they were intending.
There was just something like when I first saw the teaser trailer for The Force Awakens, and there's that snow shot I don't think is in the film where Kylo is like doing that strut, right? And he pulls out the saber.
The Kylo strut.
And I was like, this is so like heading back towards Excalibur, Knights of the Round Table. And I was like, that's such a good move considering we got more of the samurai take on the prequel end, You know what I
Right.
mean? And the first three movies are more of the Flash Gordon-y, like Old Republic serial kind of things. And I was like, and then a castle is there's something really I love about castles and technology,
Mm-hmm.
like blinking lights in the dark, like in a crypt. Like I love that aesthetic. And I was saying about Destiny, there was a lot of concept art for that game that had this like technology mixed with like treasure chests that ain't in the
Yeah.
game, but the concept art had it. And I was like, there's just something about that look, man. I can
And
never not
it's
be amazed by,
and it's mostly the same people. A lot of the same people. I shouldn't say mostly, but
Shocking.
a ton of the same people. So anyways, Brance brings urgent message to Queen 3PO intro. Like my red arm, JJ's like this paycheck. Um,
You
rev-
got paid.
reveal the evil castle for the first time. Vehicle heading in with Uber, and so this is Starkiller base. Uber says load the catapult to the general. Tells Kylo Ren not to be sentimental, and this is where we started to really understand for sure that Kylo Ren had a connection, that the rumor was that he was Han Solo and Princess Leia's son was likely to be true. Because once you start to see Kylo Ren's sentimentality being noted on a day's shooting schedule, you're like, well, what does that mean? You know what I mean? That's when you start to really figure it out a bit. Um, but Millennium Falcon flying along really fast, you guys. Problems in the racehorse. Kira tries to help. Racehorse. Han got his own problems. Kira reaching into panel. Chewbacca gets really upset with Finn. Yeah, that one is like, you know what it is now. It's just so basic. But at the time, we're like, what was it? Did he figure out he's a stormtrooper? Han impressed with Kira. She tells him that Finn is a good guy. Han thanks Finn. BB-8 finally shows what he's carrying. And that, as we said yesterday, was
It's a USB drive. It's got 32 gigs as opposed to 16 gigs of memory. We can put like a bunch of Linkin Park songs on there.
Nice.
Yeah.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
That in that little thing?
Well,
no,
it's amazing.
So that's a light, and that we believe was the lightsaber. And when they were designing BB-8 through all of the various incarnations, there was all kinds of like ways that they designed for gadgets for him and stuff, and things to like open up, and ways for him to hold the lightsaber inside. And it was always like confusing because it always showed the Anakin Skywalker Empire Strikes Back Luke lightsaber. And people would tell me, why isn't it the green one? And I'm like, I don't know. I don't know.
Luke has it.
I mean, because of the hand. They cut his hand off, and that's where it went. So the Millennium Falcon.
Did they not watch the first 3 films?
Yeah, pretty much not. The Millennium Falcon shows up above mini golf.
That's the movie I want to see with was it Kurt Russell?
Yeah.
Overboard.
Right?
Are they going to play mini as a whole? Look, what kind of modern movie would take a whole 20 minutes to do a mini golf putt sequence these days, right?
What kind of modern movie would let a dude trick a lady into that for?
I believe they would still make that movie.
They actually remade it, and they switched the roles, so I guess it's okay. I didn't see it though. For all I don't know how they did it. But
although, side note, now I want a Star Wars putt game on VR, like mini golf, right? That'd be fun.
I actually love miniature golf video games. I think they're great. The Millennium Falcon slows up above the mini golf, and then racehorse gimbal. And by the way, I haven't noticed this or noted it yet, but the gimbal means it's the cockpit shot with them rocking it back and forth with the actors inside. Kira gets emotional at seeing so much green. And you might remember I released the photo for this part and the sequence, and explained because she lived on a desert planet. Plates to establish the green planet. Finn asks who they're visiting. Her, says Han. And that right there, we didn't know at first if that meant Leia straight out or if it was the Maz character. Rose then. Plates to establish Statue of Hall of Mirrors landing. And the Hall of Mirrors is what Maz Kanata's bar was called, which is also, you know, a fun house, theme park coded
Where
stuff.
they store all the Phantom Zone ships.
Pretty much, yeah. Kira amazed at Vista. Han gives her gun. Chewie stays with ship. Now, this right here was one of the things that led us at the time to believe that Kira was Han Solo's daughter, or that there was some kind of connection there between them, because in all of the concept art that we ever saw until much later on, after we knew that she had a different gun, it was the DL-44, and he was giving her like the gun, you know, the classic Han Solo gun. So, but yeah, easy mistake, I think. Approaching the door, Han warns about this place. Walk towards Hall of Mirrors. Han tells them Rose is unusual. So then we know it's Rose. Intro Rose. Han asks for her help. They have history. Intro Rose. Han asks for help. They have history. That's the same one twice. I wonder why it was done like that.
Coverage?
Must have been. It must have been like, let's do it with CGI and let's do it with a stand-in or something like that. I'm guessing though. Kira gets into trouble. Finn can't fix it. Chewbacca does. So this is when is this the part? I think this is when Unkar Plutt shows up at the bar that was cut. And for the record, he pulls his arms off. And I fucking hated that, because Chewbacca, when somebody pulls your arms out of the socket, they're not ripping your arms off. They're pulling them out of the socket. At least that's the way I understand it. People's arms come out of their sockets. And it's really, I honestly find that the idea that they've ripped your arms out of the joints and they're hanging there dead to be more disturbing, honestly. But yeah, I was never a fan of that when they show the Wookiees rip your arms off. That's not how the saying goes. But I'm a dork. What do you want?
Being so specific,
right?
I could just see you and Addie one arguing about this, you know, and me just sitting back like, let them fight.
I'm like, yeah, Adawans,
I like them both.
Force Awakens, where he has the arms ripped off, and I'm like,
I'm
no.
Wrecker in that point. I'm like, he's got a point. No, he's got a point.
Yeah, Kira's a bit tipsy. Thanks, Finn, for standing up for her. And,
wait, before I forget, I just want to say, so far, no Constable Zuvio in any of this.
Oh, well, he was the most important character.
Right? Wasn't that the biggest deal ever? Wasn't supposed to the Zuvio cut was the release.
That was kind of funny too, because that's something that the Reddit assholes would use against me. Like, he doesn't know who Constable Zuvio is. There you go. Personally, fucking faker. You know what I mean? It's just
he doesn't give you choice seats at Scum and Villainy.
Yeah. Right? It's like, well, and what you know what sucks about I'm sorry to bitch the whole time, but you know what sucks about those kind of people on the internet is then they've now, once they have to eat shit to themselves, they don't do it publicly. They just go, then they hate you. Then they're like, and even if you don't even interact with them, like then all of a sudden you have a crazy ego. It's like, no, I just know what I saw with my own eyes, you asshole.
I think we're somewhat similar in our mindset on creativity, right? And if they were praising you all the time, you might have imposter syndrome too. You know what I mean? So sometimes feeling like the underdog, or feeling like, you know what I mean? Feeling like it.
Oh, it's complex, buddy. I've had both at the same time. I've had both at the exact fucking time. Where you're like, are they right? Are they right? I don't know who Constable Zuvio really is. So
I don't even know how to spell Zuvio. Does anybody? Is it an X or a Z?
And then because like Kira gets tipsy, right? There were people who said, "Oh, that wasn't in the movie. He made that shit up," and stuff like that. And then thankfully,
he's trying to slip her a Cosby.
When the Blu-ray comes out, or whatever, it had cutscenes, and like most of it was there. Like when they teased the Kylo and the Falcon one, that was one that people were like, that didn't happen. It's like,
the kids get tipsy on butterbeer in the freaking Harry Potter films. Like they do.
Yeah.
What's that all about?
Yeah, I don't.
Remember Hook? Remember when he drinks them?
Is
The
it? Is
kids
it?
get all crazy.
It just sounds like lube or something. It sounds gross. Kira is a bit tipsy. Han asks Rose for help. General gives a rousing speech for the assembled masses at the Evil Castle parade ground snow. So that's where you have Hux giving his little fit of rage. And then, so this was an interesting thing. The Tunnel of Love. Emissary from Leia heads to Tunnel of Love HQ. So you were going to see, I can't remember what her name was now. She was a British, darker skinned woman, really beautiful. And she was going to be the person who was almost like going to warn people about what was going to happen. At
Is she in that shot when before they get blown up?
Yep. That's
her,
all.
right?
Yeah. That's the only thing she ended up being in. But she was like a cast announcement along with the parkour guy and Gwendolyn Christie, I want to say. Gwendolyn Christie. I want to say that's how it went, but it was like very clear what they did. Now, number one, she did have more to do, and it was just cut because it was irrelevant. But they did sort of make it sound like she was an important cast member, and that was, I believe, literally to deal with Twitter being mad about the lack of diversity in the film at times, from what they knew, anyways. And so they were like, "Oh, let's announce her." Then they announce her, and then they end up pretty much cutting her. She has one shot. She really, in my opinion, probably was happy to be in the film, but at the same time, I think was used on a PR stunt. If you want, or at least that's what it amounted to. If you don't believe it was a conspiracy,
It's not a PR stunt. She was never.
Yeah. So Emissary heads from Leia for Tunnel of Love. General finishes his speech. All turn to look, and that's when the thing is going to start firing, I guess. Engineers perform final firing protocol, and so at this time, we didn't necessarily understand how it worked because it was just called the catapult, and there's like another weapon too at the end that we had to figure out that was cut from the movie as well. That we'll talk about when we get there. But we end up Evil Castle parade ground snow. Rally General reacts to the firing of the catapults. Plates required for CGI firing of catapult. Plates required for surrounding chaos caused by firing.
Oh my God, what we do? We hit the button.
Yeah. Finn and Kira see something terrible in the sky. And so, they don't. Do they see it? They see
fire in the sky.
They see the fire in the sky, and then Kylo watches it as well. Rose doesn't know where Leia. It just said Q, so we assumed it meant Queen. Is sudden buzz near doorway. Emissary sees firelight. It's not looking good. And Tunnel of Love meets its fate. And so
this is one of those things, man, where like they blow up a bunch of shit we don't even know what it is.
Yeah, it was. I'm glad in the big picture. I'm glad that Coruscant exists for future Star Wars stories and the lore behind it, what can be done. At the same time, I was like, you should have blown up Coruscant. It really would have.
What about Naboo?
Yeah, sure.
Like that would have been something.
If they had set it on Naboo's. Yeah.
There's a planet that's peaceful, and
Well, I mean, yeah, that could have been where they set it instead there was like this new place that we don't really know, don't connect with it, and it's like when it's like Alderaan in A New Hope, it's Leia's home planet, so you're like, oh, that's her home world. It's just a world, but we get it. It was,
and they've been talking about Alderaan for like 40 minutes.
So yeah, so it's kind of it was kind of it was a weird one, and it was a hard mystery to try to figure out at the time, And I think we ended up figuring out from getting early drafts of publishing stuff later, early on, that allowed us to figure that out. Side note, somebody who pretends to be a leaker today, who doesn't like me. No, I hooked him up with a story from that time based off that stuff and what the stormtroopers were about and all that stuff. And this person ran it and didn't listen to any of my directions, put that it was from the books and all this stuff like that. And I'm like, what an asshole. And now they go around pretending to be a leaker to this very day, and it makes me laugh. Rose doesn't know where the queen is. Emissary sees firefights are looking good. Light silhouettes the Star Destroyer. Kylo Ren watches the catapults work. That is a great shot, by the way. Queen and staff react to the tunnel of love unhappy ending. Rose and Han watch the horror. Rose decides to help.
It's just impossible to think the whole galaxy could witness this by looking up. You know what I mean? The whole multiple universes, right? Multiple galaxies upon universes. Just look up in the sky. I mean, like, they all have to be within, like if they were in an inner core, like in one system, you know, I guess plausible deniability. I could be like, all right, I guess, but
Rob, sometimes the stars align. Sometimes they do.
That's like if they added the movie voiceover guy to a Star Wars trailer, right? Sometimes the stars align. Star Wars.
Anakin's gonna get lucky. Can you believe it? That weirdo is doing it.
It's like when they were taking those movies, like take The Shining and make it a happy movie. And it was like, it's about a boy and a guy. And like, yeah. And they put that Rod Stewart. Dun, 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 dun.
Do you think do you think like ultimately Padme was into amputees and that's what worked for him? You had a weird kink for that?
You know, I did not see that coming today.
I mean, if you're having a problem making it work,
sweep the leg, Johnny.
Well, that's why Lucasfilm didn't publish my Padme book, because it was good though. I mean, I really got inside there into that noggin about why are you making these bad choices. And so anyways, Queen and staff react. Okay, so here's Rose starts to tell her. Okay, so walking down the stairs, Rose reveals who Luke was. See, a little different here. Rose starts to tell her tale. They all hold hands. They were all at a table together like a seance. And then she using the Force, and there's a piece of concept art of an early version of Rose with a crystal floating in the middle of the table that we have. We'll pull it up. I don't know. But and so it was like a seance, and because remember she already had the saber. The saber wasn't found in the box. It was already given to them by BB-8. They were already in possession of it. So they do this like seance kind of thing, and Rose starts to tell the tale, and then we end up in the Force back, which FB means flashback here, and see Academy. Reveal bodies on the ground. Luke turns up. And by the way, they filmed a bunch of dead Jedi kids and everything, like all on the ground. All the lightsabers were made. I published some photos of the lightsabers. I know somebody who bought one for a lot of money. Oops. Still cool though, but oops. Reveal bodies on the ground. Luke turns up. R2d2 upset as his master leaves. It's like, man, you motherfucker, you a bitch, man. What are you doing? Come on. Really?
You really haven't watched Oral Nuts?
I know I need to. I'm going to. I swear.
Bro, like when you say this, I'm like, you're going to be laughing. Just trust me.
Okay. So reprise. Hand takes sword. We reveal Naka. Force back.
Yuji Naka, creator of Sonic the Hedgehog?
No, he's the guy in the beginning who's like just hanging out in the savannah when Jakku was a savannah. Peasant drops sword. He like drops it. It turns on and starts a fire. He freaks. He runs. He then returns. Then basically we end up seeing the saber change hands. And local trader walks away, reveals Finn and Kira watching. Local trader sells the sword on to prosperous man. And I
don't know.
A little bit of conjecture here and maybe false memories. But there's a reason that I think the prosperous man gives the saber to the Church of the Force. But I could be wrong.
Is that whole lore Santeca, like the people who like...
Yes.
Right. Like,
so Force flashback, Force back, battle rages, sword being used by the clan against the Seven. So that was That was the clan is sorry, I think sword being used by the clan against the seven. The clan is are the Jedi, and the seven are the Knights of Ren. And so we see someone using the sword, and I don't know if it was like, I don't know if they were implying in this version that a young Rey was using it, and that's how she gets away. It's not Luke Skywalker using it. That is the important part here. But they use it in the defense. So I'm guessing the prosperous man then gets it back to Luke, and then the Jedi Order has the saber at that point, the original Anakin sword. So flashback, last man down, reveal Kylo Ren walking towards Kira. Flashback, seven are looting. So that's them inside the Jedi temple, the academy, if you will, taking all of the spoils.
Like they did in Iraq.
Yeah, exactly. In the foreground, we see Rose take the object. So Maz Kanata was there stealing the lightsaber.
Mm-hmm. Oh no, Antifa loots. No.
But I mean, this is still kind of a weird mystery, because she steals it after the fight, and it still ends up, you know what I mean? It still ends up in their possession as the map. It's kind of confusing still. I still don't really understand how this stuff ended up working out, and unless we ever see an early draft of it. I mean, there is a chance this shit didn't make sense, that he was like, we'll figure it out. And you know what I mean? And like why do like we said in episode 9, why are there classic Star Destroyers with First Order red troopers? Like these things, I think they were just like, we'll figure it out. But anyways, Kira reveals the sword. Kira repelled by it. Finn attracted. And I thought that was like really kind of cool, because it's like, I fall into this idea mindset that the person who doesn't want it is the one worthy of it. And that's ultimately like how it ends up. We end up with these two kids that are
like jury duty.
Yeah. Via movie, right? Pauly Shore, that he got
it. Well played, clerks. Well played.
Kira moves. So anyways, Kira moves past the aliens in an uproar. So all the aliens are freaking out about, what had happened with the Starkiller base, the explosion. And Kira runs away from the castle, which is pretty much, what happens in the movie. Actually, this is the same. Plates. Kira exits castle, heads for the woods. Kira runs into the woods, and this is the woods. This is where they filmed. This is the Puzzlewood location for the movie, out there in the old
missed
UK,
opportunity
England.
To put a little ET in there.
So this part right here, Rose knows why the sword came to her. BB-8 finds Kira in the woods. Suddenly, the bad guys are overhead. And so this is when you would have had Conja Club and all that coming in one version of the movie anyway. But, we get the First Order. A massive shaking starts. They notice Kira and BB-8 are missing. Plates. BB-8's point of view of the castle destruction. Chaos in the Hall of Mirrors. Kylo Ren lands. Kira sees the Hall of Mirrors ruined. Kylo Ren arrival. Stormtroopers behind. Stormtroopers tell Kylo Ren where all the targets are. The gang heads out. This is underneath, from where they're still underground at this point, where they had just done the seance, but Rey's run out, so they're coming out. This is kind of interesting though. But chaos at the stairs. Stormtroopers come in firing. Kira and BB-8 run. Kylo Ren chasing. Kira sends BB-8 away. Rose uses her special skills to take out the stormtroopers. So she was going to use the Force. Right there, she reveals that she has that power. So my takeaway from this early stuff is that remember, Maz is at the temple when it's attacked by the Knights of Ren. She's the one who retrieves the lightsaber and takes it away at one point. So I think that she was going to have been a Jedi in the little Skywalker clan or cult, if you
Jocasta
will.
knew,
Yeah,
right?
basically. And I also think that her backstory of being like the pirate kind of the pirate leader who didn't want to be a part of the Jedi Order, I think that was probably her story too. I think that Luke was exceptional, and that she decided to go with him, but then it all goes south, and then she's like, you know what, I'm going back to my old ways.
She saw Grogu and she's like, oh,
But
I'll stay. He's so cute.
Yeah, and I have a feeling, because we have to remember that episode this was being filmed while Rian Johnson was writing episode 8, and they were well aware of what was going on. So I have a feeling once Rian looked at what they were doing, what they were laying out for him, and that he had to have Luke Skywalker in the film now, what does he need Rose for? And the only other way I could see taking it is that and Rose is Maz Kanata, if anybody is not keeping up. What Maz Kanata, I guess, could have trained Finn, and Luke could have trained Rey. They could have done something like that. That's one way of taking it, but that's kind of a weird organization, I think, still. And so I think he was just like, I don't really need Rose. I don't really need Maz Kanata. And I have Luke, and I think that's why she ended up having that jetpack moment. She's like, oh, just go here and do that, because I don't think that he had any
scuba diver.
Yeah, scuba diver. Anyways, Kylo Ren catches Kira, wants to know more. Heroes exit into ruins. Finn uses the sword fairly well, and so right there, it does. It doesn't.
You remember the original Macquarie art where all the stormtroopers had sabers? Yeah. I think it's a missed opportunity for stormtrooper or First Order troopers to have like a fencing saber, not like a full lightsaber, but like something like a rapier or something.
Yeah, it could have been cool. I mean, I kind of almost think that that idea is where they were taking like those baton things, like when you look at the evolution of the design, but they became something else. The traitor weapon.
I have the emote droids have.
I have the emote in Fortnite, and I die a lot because I want to do it to someone before I fight him, and people don't respect it. You got to let me do it before you kill me. Like, then if you win, you're a badass, but if you kill me when I'm doing it. Anyways, heroes exit into ruins, and then so the ruins is obviously the castle all destroyed. Finn uses the sword fairly well. Kylo Ren uses his special skills to find out more. And Finn fights Han, Chewie crush stormtroopers, kill Mace Man, surrender.
Mace Windu confirmed.
Yeah, no, and Mace Man is traitor, the guy with who does the thing.
Okay.
Yeah, those weapons were called maces in all of the behind the scenes stuff. Kylo Ren realizes he doesn't need the droid after all. He just needs the saber. Under arrest, pirate attack. Black TIE fighter makes the difference. That one was very confusing, because it was Poe Dameron's team showing up, and we didn't know, because Poe Dameron, we don't see him. He's just dead, and then he shows up here all of a sudden at this part of the film. So we thought he was in a black TIE fighter that he had maybe salvaged or stolen from Jakku, and then flown to the attack and with the X-Wings and shown up, but they didn't. Obviously went with a black X-Wing fighter, and that made sense. That was the most logic understanding of these lines and what happens in the movie. But instead, he's back. He's alive. Don't ask questions, idiot. Just go with it. So Kylo Ren interrupted by pirates above. Orders to retreat. Knocks out Kira. And stormtroopers retreat, still fighting. Finn sees Kylo Ren take Kira and runs after. Point of view of Kylo Ren taking Kira back to ship. BB-8 sees stormtroopers retreat, heads back to castle. Finn wants to go after Kira. Han is upset. Rose explains why. What do you think about that? Finn wants to go after Kira. Han is upset, and Rose explains why. Right? So, but the next thing is Leia and 3PO will arrive. So was Han upset because And did Rose need to explain that there was a connection between Han and Kira, or was Han saying Leia's coming?
Or Kylo, he's mad about Kylo.
Oh,
She's
mad about
like,
his
that's his
son.
kid.
That's right. That makes sense. So that would have been that. You're right. I think you're right about that. That would have been where Rose says, "Hey, that's his son. He's a real freak now. He's really weird." And I'm not judging, but he's really into drawing animals with biceps and stuff like that. He does seem like he'd be into that.
Big boys.
Finn wants to go after Akira. Han's upset. So Leia and 3PO arrive. Awkward beating with Han. Han's like, "Why's your arm red? Who's making money off that? J.J. Abrams or something?"
It's happening to all of us.
Millennium Falcon and X-Wing fighters head towards Pirates Cove. And Pirates Cove is the Daquar, is another name for the Daquar code name. Plate shots, landscapes are required for Pirates Cove landing. And by the way, oftentimes Pirates Cove was Yavin 4.
There was also concept art of like a pirate like docking area. This is more pirate shippy, little like Treasure Island a little bit, Treasure Planet. And I was like, much more memorable scene.
Yeah, no, it was a much cooler planet. It was and it almost looks kind of like what they did in Mando to a small degree, a little bit. But it
more
was
memorable.
Well, here's something to consider. When you see Daquar, there are giant roots going all around pyramid-like bricks. But when you see the outside of it, there are no trees, no reasons for those roots, and it is simply those missile bunkers over there in England. So, and I had a lot of concept art that showed Yavin, and I believe some of that stuff could have been from Rogue One or was moved over to Rogue One, but yeah, I think it was going. And the other thing is that all of the equipment for the Rebel base was modular. All of the stuff could be used so that way they could make new sets really fast. The computers click together, the screens would fold up, and they all had iPads on the inside of them, and that's how the screens were. So that way they could shoot video into the iPads. And
this lack of vision, though, dude, really annoys me, though, Jason. Like, I couldn't imagine during the original trilogy, Lucas going, "We don't really know the planet, and we'll figure it out after we shoot everything," and it was just constantly changing. And then at the very end, like just generic. Like, just commit to a fucking look. You got castles, you got pirate coves, just commit to it. Like, I don't understand why the constant iterating to the point of it just being, it's not really important, it's just a scene. Like, no, make it a place.
Because JJ wasn't baking this cake for him. He was baking this cake for everybody else's stupid opinion. And he had to, if he put Yavin 4 in there, everyone would have been like, yeah, Yavin 4. But also he was writing that line between remaking A New Hope structure. And he wanted the familiar, but not familiar enough. Like, he needed to, straddle that. And, I don't think that they were actually the best choices either way you cut it. And he had the other opportunities. So it wasn't like the concept artist all banded together and only drew Yavin 4 or only drew this kind of thing. Like, they were making straight up like really cool. It was almost like Batu, very like Asian influenced, like with like lots of like banners and stuff, and like stuff looked rad. And it was really cool, and they didn't go with that new look, and that would have been much better, I think. But at the same time, hopefully that stuff becomes something in the future. And it was, and we're just like, okay, fine. But all landing, Finn is reunited with Poe. That's where he gets the jacket, right? Finn meets Leia. They want to know what he knows. They want to know what Finn knows. And, this is where Finn was going to break everything down for them, like totally explain the Starkiller base and all that stuff, which he kind of does still. But C3p and R2d2 Intro Gorwin. Finn explains Evil Castle. And Doctor taking care of Chewbacca.
I thought Finn was the doctor. What's going on?
It's pretty funny. I don't remember the actor's name who was the doctor, but I remember getting sent a playbill that she was doing a play in the UK, and it said that she was the doctor in The Force Awakens. And how I figured that out. Yeah. They can't decipher the map. Han tries to talk to Leia. Han and Leia can't agree. Han and Leia.
This
Yeah.
is where we realize Carrie Fisher hasn't acted in 30 years, right?
Yeah. Yeah. That was one of the funny things when she wrote that letter to JJ and said, thanks for like letting me do 2 movies with you. And JJ was like, I only did 1 movie with her. What? It's mystical. It's magical. It was like, no, because they had to redo it all because she was rusty and kind of a mess at times. A lot of stuff her and Oscar Isaac had a lot of issues because he was professional and she was less than. And I think he feels bad about it, to be honest with you, because when you see him talk about her, there does seem to be a little bit of like, oops, you know, it's not bad. He was completely right to be angry, you know. But Han and Leia can't agree. Han and Leia try to take out their differences. Deserted parade ground, save for patrol units. And then in the dungeon, Kylo Ren tries to learn all he can from Kira. She turns the tables.
Dun, dun, dun.
Kylo Ren tries to learn all he can from Kira. She turns the tables. Kylo Ren pauses outside the dungeon, flustered. Who is this lady?
Gosh, Willikers, I just can't stand it.
It's never happened before, I swear.
Yeah, it's very frustrating sometimes when they're chained up. They just won't do what you want them to do, and I don't understand it.
Kylo Ren and the general report.
They're gonna take that one out of context,
right?
Yeah. Why do I say that? Okay.
The general reports in regarding Kira and BB-8. Uber wants action. He's like, "Come on, guys, let's party, man! Come on, get the Starkiller base, guys. Let's get."
Uber demands unions. No, don't. You know?
Remember that night in Tallahassee? Let's do that again. All right. So, meeting about the evil castle. This is at Leia's place at Endor. Finn briefs them all. Wide shot reveals how the catapult functions, showing the control room operation of the catapult, locking down into the heart of the catapult. So that's back at the map room. The group hatches a plan. Leia has something up her sleeve.
Ambient.
Now, yeah. Probably though.
I cried when she passed, by the way, all right? December 16th or whatever. Like, I remember the day it was snowing and I just went to the window and cried. So don't get mad at me.
She would make the same joke too. People get too uptight about her. Yeah, I mean, I think she's the coolest person that ever worked on these movies, for the record, but also she could take a joke. And anyways, the group hatch a plan. Leia has something up her sleeve. Now, what she has up her sleeve is the ending to Rogue One. They were going to use those hammerhead chips from the old Republic era,
the West End Games RPGs.
To push the Star Destroyers aside. And that was going to allow Poe's pilots, I should say, to get in there and take care of business. So that ends up getting cut, ends up in the Lego Star Wars game. Lego, from what I heard, was super pissed about all of these changes that had happened. And we didn't get a Lego Star Wars game until now. That hasn't come out yet.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That Skywalker Saga Lego game still hasn't come out, right?
My kid is so sad about it. Like, he literally asks me about every month, is there a release date yet? And he's like, it's coming out. It's coming out, Dad. I know it's coming out. And I'm like, son, they haven't shown a trailer or shown it at a convention. I don't think so, man. I hope it will come out at one point. But also, like, isn't that company being like the Warner Brothers thing going through some stuff for now? Anyways, the group hatch a plan. Leia has something up her sleeve, which is the ships. Everyone preparing to leave on the big picnic, which is the fight. Rose thinks the special thing should be with the boy. So Rose
this sounds so weird.
Yeah, Rose is telling Leia that Finn needs the lightsaber. And Rose knows why, though. Rose can see I think Rose can see that Rey won't take it, but that it being in her proximity, it will find its way to her because it's where it belongs. So Leia gives Finn the sword. Han promises to hurry back. And that moment right there that shot was reused in episode 9. That's the Leia gives Finn the sword, that they used that moment and for that trade-off moment. Anyways, a wide shot as Millennium Falcon takes off on the mission. Back at the dungeon, Kira uses special skills to convince Stormtrooper to leave. Now, this was the first time, one of the first things I reported where we started to see the Mary Sue guys come out of the woodwork. That's a Mary Sue. Who taught her how to do that and all this stuff? And I was like, how'd they do that? How'd they do that? That's what Ray calls them. How'd they do that? Millennium Falcon races towards its target. And plate shots, landscapes as required for Millennium Falcon departure. About to arrive, Han reveals his crazy plan to stop. What? Stop drinking?
Stop making these indie films. They're killing me.
It's for that thing where it shoots and when it lands on the snow.
He's got a drinking problem. Remember Airplane?
Yeah. Han, Chewie, Finn screaming at sudden arrival. Plates required for Millennium Falcon crashing through trees. And I remember talking about that. And then I remember when that shot came out, and it was like, oh, that for me, that was a huge, for whatever reason, a big vindicating moment. Because it was literally like what we said.
Did you stand up in the theater and go, yes?
No, it was released on a TV spot. It was a TV spot shot. Han reacts to Millennium Falcon slamming through trees. Plates required for Millennium Falcon coming to a standstill. Standstill. Han shook up. Finn consults him regarding Kylo Ren. Brant says
odd time to do it.
Yeah. Yeah, right. And honestly, like it was weird. I mean, it was weird that that was taken out and removed, because once we get there, I think that stuff is just changed with like Finn going like, I used to clean the bathroom here and that stuff, or whatever I was used to be the janitor stuff. And it's the stuff that actually doesn't work.
The more I think about Kazan's involvement on the script, I think he just rewrote Han's dialogue. I don't think he did much development on. None of this sounds like anything Kazan would come up with.
No, I think I feel like I know that Kazdan was the dialogue guy.
Right.
Like, I could be wrong, but yeah, I'm pretty sure that's what it came down to. So Brant says the Millennium Falcon made it. Leia gives go ahead. Plate shots. I want to. So Brant, this is a cut scene actually. I believe, and yeah, Brant isn't the guy from Lost. I don't think. Okay. I think he's the white dude who just like comes in, but you see him in a lot of shots. He's in a bunch of stuff.
I want to cosplay as Brant now. You know, you don't know who Brant is. You fans suck.
Yeah,
take that, Ben.
I believe that's a cut scene on the Blu-ray DVD thing for the movie. Plate shots, landscapes as required for X-Wing's departing. Poe talks to BB-8, tells him stand by to go. Wide shot of X-Wings going super fast. Kylo Ren returns back to chat with Kira. Kylo Ren is annoyed to find out that Kira has left the party.
Don't you hate it when they do that on Fortnite? They just leave your party.
Yeah.
Tell you. You know, you're like, I thought I have 4 people. Now I got me. Yeah.
The other night I was in a party of 4 and I had 3 quitters and I still won. And I felt like
Nev Campbell.
Really good. And then I realized that I probably just totally killed a bunch of like 8-year-olds. Anakin Skywalker style. So
you're like, I'm so Anakin right now.
Right now, it's like I can't even give myself that victory royale. Kylo Ren annoyed to find that Kira has left the party. I already read that. Plates our friends on long walk, then hide. Oh, Finn tells them his odd job. So that's when he says he was the janitor. So that was always there. Scratch what I said before. Plates required for what I still think that being the only conversation there, that was a problem. Plates required for a walk as spotlight dims. And so that's the sun going out and the Star Killer is charged. Our friends head towards and enter a giant tunnel.
Plates, like the odd job, it's so unnecessary. Like this is just where they were trained and recruited. So he knows the base. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? This is where the First Order, we all train here. This is where we shipped out. I shipped out on my first run. I wasn't prepared for murdering innocent children. We just, like
Yeah.
we trained for it. I wasn't cool with it. Like, I just know, this is not hard. Like, this is like
Or
when
they don't train you
Omega
for
and them,
killing children. They give you a bunch of propaganda, and then the reality is different. And I think Han Solo probably says it best. If they follow Imperial procedure, they're going to dump their whatever out, and you just have him say something like that, and you could have had it. He
you were the
understands.
janitor. You didn't know. Like, this doesn't make any. It doesn't line up with who he was at the front. It's just dumb.
Yeah, and like I said, I made it work for myself by going, okay, he was the janitor, then he became all the way up to being Captain Phasma's top stormtroopers, and that's why he's a badass.
As we do in the military.
As we do. Yeah.
As we do.
Our friends walk down the tunnel into elevator. So this is I think an interesting thing. The technician reports the catapult is at 52%. So as we go on, you're going to see that the technicians were reporting in with how charged it was. So they ended up going with more of a visual way of doing this, but they could have went with that A New Hope way too, where they kind of tell you how charged or how ready the Death Star is, and kind of this could this alludes to almost a different organization of the intended edit of how that story was going to be told at one point. Could be wrong though, but that's what it seemed.
Kevin Smith was on set and he's like, you could make it 37. And
right?
JJ's like, stop. Just stop.
Yeah.
Like,
37. Kira goes walkabout. Avoids some stormtroopers by entering wall. Kira climbs between the walls, totally at home. Elevator opens. Han takes stormtrooper out. Their luck won't hold.
I thought all that worked well in the movie. Her sneaking around and then moving. I thought that actually was really... It's simple, but it actually is fun. It's fun watching people sneak around Star Wars.
Yeah. Yeah. Code's changed. Han tells Finn to use the thing he's holding. Han tells you. So I guess the lightsaber.
if that's the only code you get that day, that bit of that, you're gonna be, what's he holding? Mm-hmm.
So I think it says to use the lightsaber. Finn doubts himself. Han doesn't. He gets the shield down.
Those are all very innuendo-y.
Yeah. Kind of, I mean, which is pretty much what Finn does in episode 9 too, in a weird way. I have the Force now. I'll get the shield down or take out the tower. But technician reports the shields are down. Attack can go ahead. Poe rogers the order to commence attack. Gorwin copies Poe to lead his group in. I think Gorwin was the code name for what's JJ's best bud. I could be wrong.
Oh yeah, the cop.
The cop.
The lost cop.
Yeah, I think that might have been his code name.
Or Heroes. Heroes or Lost.
Wide shot of
Heroes, or I can't remember.
Yeah, I can't remember. I think it was in Heroes. Wide shot of X-wings racing towards the evil castle. TIE fighters and Imperial troop transporters beside the crashed Millennium Falcon. Stormtroopers give all clear. Kylo Ren enters the Millennium Falcon. So this is where Kylo. So this is the snow troopers finding the Falcon. It's clear. Kylo goes in. Kylo looks at the cockpit, sits in his chair. And I thought that was interesting that it's his chair. Kylo Ren watches the pirates attack in the distance. So he's sitting in the Falcon watching his base being attacked. And I just think that's such a good idea and such a strong moment where he's like, I should be piloting this ship, helping these people. And instead, what have I done? The choices I've made, It's
like trimming that scene from The Phantom Menace when Qui-Gon decides to meditate while Maul stares at him.
Yeah.
It's like trimming that for time. Like, you don't trim that. Like, that's selling a whole story with no dialogue. Like, that is quintessential Star Wars.
Yeah. And if you really look at it, you see somebody who hasn't fallen to the dark side entirely. Somebody who is still questioning if they're doing the right thing when they're the bad guy. And that I think is, it's an important kind of, it was an important tell for the character. But so anyways, in the evil castle, the general sends the TIE fighters to the X-wings, weapons at 71%. And a side note too, one of the things I got constantly at this time was all of the concept art that I had seen were X-wing fighters and mostly X-wing fighters in TIE fighters. Sometimes there'd be like different versions of them. Sometimes the X-Wing would be a 2-seater or
Where's
something
the
weird.
B-Wing?
Yeah. That's what it was. Everyone was like, why are they just doing those? Like, are you sure you got this right? And I'm like, I'm like, no, I don't. I'm not sure I have this right, but I'm only seeing this stuff. I can't. What do you want me to tell you? So Poe calls an enemy.
Why did you only pick X-Wings?
Yeah. And then this was cool because we figured this out. Pilot NN calls in his targets, and that was 9M.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, we guessed that one right. Plates required for X-Wings heading for the prize. Some cash. No, some crash. I said some cash. Like, all right.
Highlander?
Yeah, right.
Give me the prize.
Give me the prize. Black Stormtroopers race across to their TIE fighters, which means the TIE fighter pilots, not Finn. Right. If anybody's getting confused.
There's gonna be some Voldemorty out there. It's like, you know what? I just keep we're putting stuff in Star Wars that wasn't there, man. There's just one there, you know.
Yeah.
Hate this saga. I hate it.
Or the opposite's gonna be like, there used to be black stormtroopers and they cut it from the movie. Racist ass Kathy Kennedy.
Why? How come the black stormtroopers are all just drivers, huh? What kind of racist shit is that?
Why are they racing? Are they only good at running? Come on.
Oh, no.
So it's yeah, but no, it meant TIE fighter pilots. Gorwin takes out a TIE fighter. He's like, hey, you want to go out sometime? You're pretty cute.
To the fish under the Star Wars dance.
Hey, you, get your damn hands off her.
It's the Gungan under the sea dance where Crispin Glover comes back as old man Jar Jar.
He's all, what, me's a TIE fighter? And then he goes, yeah.
Ahmed Best's like, I passed. I let Crispin take it.
Right. So anyways, Poe takes out an enemy cannon. So yeah, that was one of the things. Is I think that the cannons were an issue. And we're still waiting for Leia's plan to be hatched. We have a countdown coming about how, when this thing's going to fire on Dakwar and destroy it. Plates required for dogfight overhead. Gliv confirms their cannons are down. Leia sends in surprise. I might be wrong about this, but Gliv may be Carrie Fisher's daughter. That may have been the original name or the original, at least what they were calling her in these things, I want to say. I'm pretty sure I'm right about that, but I'll have to confirm it tomorrow. General relays news of an incursion of one of his Star Destroyers. Peaceful above the evil castle. 2 Star Destroyers on patrol. So, yeah, they can't get into the spot to blow the whole thing up. And you see like this guy patrolling in the art anyway, on a tower, like a little tower kind of thing, walking along. And then there's these 2 Star Destroyers above, and Captain Trilla, Captain Trilla, who Captain Trilla sounds like a rapper, but is not. Captain Trilla. Trilla becomes a name from the video game from Fallen Order.
The Thrilla from Trilla.
Yeah, it's true. Trilla becomes an Inquisitor. At least the name does anyway. All fine, then something. Steamroller smashes in way past Star Destroyers. So
very Jaws-like moment when you think about it. Like, remember when Jaws comes over from the side and just
dun 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 dun.
John Williams. It's the airplane with the.
God, imagine how badass it would have been if John Williams did like his own rendition mashup of the Jaws into the Imperial March. Would have been pretty cool.
Someone make that happen.
Right? John Williams make it happen. Put it in Indiana Jones. Who cares? Just do what you want. You're John fucking Williams, dude. So everything goes sideways in the ND Star Destroyer. I forgot what ND stood for, but I knew that at a time. It'll come back to me, I'm sure. Plates required for dogfight as Sledgehammer arrives. Sledgehammer is the thing that takes it out for the final time. The hammerheads. General says launch the array. This is the other weapon, and this was Hux's weapon. And I kind of got the vibe that as they were vying for Snoke's love and affection, Star Killer was sort of a Kylo Ren production, and the Array was the Hux production. And
It's Death Blossom. It's a weapon of last resort.
Plates for the sledgehammer closer. Poe's right is hit. Poe made aware of sudden new threat. Plate of Array missiles launched against the pirates of the rebels, the resistance. Han, Chewie, and Finn make a plan. They spot Kira. Point of view of Kira popping out of the wall panel. Kira is touched.
Hey
Kira is touched that they came back for her. Finn is embarrassed. Allowance for ND X-Wing pilots under assault. Allowance for TIE fighters getting hit by their own guys. So
Cux is just taking it. It is. It was Death Blossom, and
did you just call him General Cux? Yeah. He sends basically.
That's Alex Jones.
yeah. It's like a giant nail gun essentially that just like blast everything. And right. In that moment, you see that like it's a big moment for them. Like they're willing to kill their own guys to win this battle. They don't care. So, which I also think kind of does go against like the idea that they were making these stormtroopers more powerful, better armor, more equipped, that kind of idea. But as we can see, they still just amount to stormtroopers who can't shoot when you really get down to it. So who cares? Poe tells them to clear out. Gliv reports the bad news about the sledgehammer. Our heroes outside watch disaster. A plan is hatched. Leia sadly tells all units to withdraw. Allowance for ND X-Wing pilots hearing order to withdraw. Poe tries to resist Leia's order to quit. See that right there? You can see that's what we get in the Last Jedi.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
No. Rian Johnson did that. She did it.
And so I have a feeling this is where Rian starts to why he develops that probably. And it's a good question. Was this cut because it was going to be an 8? Was it just cut and then Rian had already committed to the development of that theme and idea for Poe? But Leia tells Poe his team is all that's left. They must go hide. So just like episode 8. Poe leaving as ordered, sees some old friends below. Poe's point of view of Han and Chewie heading for the prize. Just give me the prize. Kylo Ren heads quickly towards the ramparts. Plates or double shot of Poe POV of Han and Chewie on the, I guess it's like on the bank. Poe reports back to Leia that Han is active. Leia,
on Tinder.
Yeah.
No, he's left me.
He's like, you got a new jacket. She's like, yeah, I need to take some new Tinder pics. Leia's thrilled to hear that Han is still on the case. Chewie and Han head for the entrance to the ramparts. Yeah. Gumshoe Solo. Kira and Finn jump onto the white bumper car. That's that one speeder. So they call it a bumper car again. Stormtrooper spots them. Kira and Finn are chased by snow stormtroopers. They take him out. Plates are required for the evil castle's speeder journey. And this is all a cutscene that you can see.
They fly now?
The kid even became a toy. Technician reports 92% charged. Han and Chewie at the doorway battle with stormtroopers. Kylo Ren with downed snow stormtrooper hears that Han has been spotted. Elements of Finn and Kira arriving at the telegraph office. Yeah. So this is all in the evil castle.
He's sending it to Marty in 1955 that when you get here.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get it.
Plate or double shot of Finn and Kira arrive at telegraph office. Kira uses her old climbing skills to open the hatch, which is something I am a fan of that callback, if you will. Door opens. Han and Chewie step inside. Han and Chewie divide their explosives. Han watches him go. Kylo Ren strikes down the corridor towards the ramparts. Han, placing one explosive, hurries down to the next level. Squad of stormtroopers snap to attention. Open giant door for Kylo Ren. Kylo Ren looks into the abyss, senses something, sends the stormtroopers off. So he looks down in that hole and he's like, I'm going to send him down. I'm going to kill him, but I don't want you guys to see me kill my daddy. I might cry. As the stormtroopers pass, it reveals Chewie hiding. He plants another explosive. Finn and Kira arrive at the ramparts, watch the sun finally fade away. General hears that they are fully charged. Prepare to fire.
Prepare to fire.
Yeah. So back at the map room, which is the Leia's base, Daquar, desolation, catapults fully ready. Leia is proud. So I think Leia's like, if I'm gonna go down like this, I'm gonna go down like this.
She should have been like.
She's been like, they've been trying to do this to me since I was like 18. Let's do it, bitch. I'm ready. I ain't afraid to die. So Han hides, then decides to reveal himself to Kylo Ren. Finn, Kira, and Chewie stop to watch what's happening below. You have to remember, originally they all knew that. I don't know if Kira did, but Finn knew the secret. The conversation comes to a sudden end.
Dun dun dun.
Yeah. And that was when I knew that's where Han Solo dies, because he never comes back. That was the last time.
Doug Chain said there's no handrails in the Star Wars universe.
No handrails. No handrail. There's handrails. No handrails.
That's what they call them now, because after that fateful day, everyone's like, we need to now install handrails into every base to, otherwise we're gonna get fined with OSHA.
Space OSHA.
They're handrails now.
Handrails. Yeah. The conversation comes to a sudden end. Leia has felt what happened at the evil castle, and that was the other obvious moment. Why is she feeling it if everything's fine?
Right.
Chewie lets rip at Kylo Ren. Stormtroopers turn on Finn and Kira.
Sorry. If you don't have a poodoo joke, we ain't Star Wars.
I can't see you right now because I have a document open, so I just heard it. I was like, okay. that it works. Finn and Kira know they can't run any further. Chewie dodges Stormtrooper and sets off explosives. Explosives cause havoc. Kylo Ren storms out. Panic in the control room. Systems are offline. Kylo Ren moves purposefully towards the forest. Finn.
By the way, when Chewie shoots him and starts just blowing shit up, I thought that worked really well.
Yeah.
Like Chewie was just like, fuck all you motherfuckers. You know what I mean? Just blowing everything up. Like I thought. Yeah, I was actually I really liked that. I think that's Chewie's best like moment out of these three films for me.
Yeah.
Like
just Chewie going crazy.
Yeah.
My favorite Chewie moment though is when the shield doors or the blast doors or whatever close on Hoth and he's sad. He goes, Roar.
Yeah, I mean out of the sequel trilogy, I'm saying this is my favorite.
Yeah, no, I'm just dropping what I like too, man. That's all.
Yeah. You gotta fucking throw down Empire, you know. I liked it. Yeah, I liked it when Chewie was a dog. Like, just a big dog.
I'll go when he's just like a big werewolf man. Anyways, Finn and Kylo Ren duel. Finn matches him. So is that
Lone Star?
Yeah, I mean, they changed a lot of stuff, but I wonder if there was a time when he did a lot better with the fight until he doesn't. You know what I mean?
This is where I think these First Order troopers should have had little like lightsaber like rapiers. I'm not saying the actual lightsabers; they're not kyber crystals, but something like it because they're trained. It would have been a nice callback to that original concept there too.
They could have justified it by saying that they feared that Luke Skywalker would return or something like that.
When they have to hunt down rando Jedis, I know. I don't know. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Kylo Ren gets better of Finn. Sword goes to Kira. Kira duels with Kylo Ren. Young technician flees. Won't listen to the colonel. That's when everybody's like, this place is fuck. Let's get out of here.
We all go down.
General watches it.
Don't run.
The general watches in horror as the parade ground falls away. And this is Hux. And we thought Hux died here, honestly. The general has final check-in with his boss.
And check-in.
Yeah. Yeah. And so we thought that Hux died. Maybe he did. Maybe he died and then they decided to keep him. But they did kind of take Hux from they did Marcus Brody Hux is what I call it. Like in the first one, he's a scary psychopath, and the second one, and even into the third one, he becomes sort of a joke.
I'm the rebel spy now.
Yeah, yeah, and it's like I'm okay with it because somebody who would be that crazy little wannabe Hitler Youth screaming in the microphone probably is a huge pussy when you get down to it. You know what I mean? And so I'm like, a part of me is
I'll
okay
fight
with
anything, but I won't take a vaccine.
Yeah, exactly.
Not this guy. I'm too afraid of the vaccines.
No vaccines this year.
Yeah, but we're gonna fight every war imaginable on Hiroshima. I mean, whatever, man.
Yeah.
Or Iwo Jima.
Gonna go fucking do meth with bikers at a convention next month, probably, but won't take the vaccine. General watches in horror as the parade ground falls away. Sturgis!
I was gonna say General Sturgis?
General Sturgis. Darth Sturgis. Darth Sturgis and Darth Vaxxer.
Yeah, Lucas was like, this is about Newt Gingrich. So you know.
The general has final time with his boss. Finn and Kira duel with Kylo Ren ends. Ground falls away behind Kira. So once again, when you just look at the structure of this, for the people who go like, oh, he's Kylo Ren, he's supposed to be this badass, but he couldn't even kill her on her first day, it doesn't get finished. And he was still interested in her. There was something about her that he knew from well before this moment in the film too. So he wasn't like, it's like saying, why didn't Darth Vader just mop the floor with Luke? You know, it is that same kind of, he wanted to talk to her still. He wanted to find out more about her. He went back after she was interrogated. Yeah, he went back, you know. So anyways, Kylo and Finn on the precipice. Kylo Ren leaves. Chewie arrives. The Millennium Falcon turns up. Chewie behind the wheel. Kira on edge of cliff. Chewie runs down Millennium Falcon ramp, helps Kira with Finn. Element to see Chewbacca and Kira driving the Millennium Falcon away.
We out of here.
Millennium Falcon races away as the evil castle shuts down.
I just imagine the wheels spinning sound, you know?
Yeah. Plates required for the Millennium Falcon. Triumphant return to the Pirates Cove. Millennium Falcon returns to Pirates Cove. Folks, pleased to see them. C3PO, R2D2, and BB-8 solve the puzzle together. So that's where they decode the map. Kira says goodbye to Finn in Nurse's office. So, you know, it's where she kisses him on the cheek or whatever and says goodbye. Leia and Kira have a fond farewell. Kira and Chewie drive the Millennium Falcon. He musses her hair, which I always liked that idea or that moment, the way it read. It's fine in the movie, but I like the idea that he was a little bit like rougher, like more of a noogie. Millennium Falcon cast off. Everyone watching.
If prequel George made the originals, Chewie's son would have been named Noogie.
Yeah, Noogie.
Chewie and Noogie. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And he gives them the Noogies. Like it rhymes.
Millennium Falcon heads for Magic Mountain, which is Octo.
Oh, that's my favorite.
Plates required to establish Magic Mountain.
Ninja, the Batman ride.
Top Gun. Chewie and BB-8 stay with the Millennium Falcon, and Kira heads off. Which is this is one of the changes that was made, where they had R2 go with them instead, deciding that it would be more powerful for Luke to meet R2 instead of BB-8. And Kira climbs down the stone steps towards the ticket booth, which is his little beehive hut. Kira finds Luke, gives back what belongs to him, the lightsaber. So there you have it. That is the entire shooting schedule that we have now gone through. And yeah, and so really quickly, let's pull up a little. Let's go through a couple pieces of concept art too, and then we will acknowledge the chat a little bit more if anybody has any questions that we might be able to help with. Who knows? Can you, are you able to make them big individually, like one by one, or?
Yeah, I just.
Okay, cool. Yeah, see, look how cool that is.
This is her hut where she lives, right?
This looks really rad. Yeah.
Ray's home. Oh, no shit, Rob.
Ray's home.
And
Yeah.
then
And so yeah, right there. And like I was saying, they were going to reuse these all of the equipment here in Rogue One at one point. And they ended up
build 2 sets for one thing, right?
yeah, they ended up not doing it though. They ended up changing it.
Yeah, we're spending money now.
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
Here.
Oh yeah,
Here.
that TIE fighter, this is one of the first pieces of concept art that I was ever sent. And it was like, oh wow, the TIE fighters are a little bit different. And JJ put red. It's the 3PO thing.
Look, it's the red thing.
You put the red on them. He's all, if I put red on it, you pay me. Right?
It is such a weird and consistent thing in the film that makes like maybe 3PO was taken over. He had to work for the First Order. Like Kylo took him. I don't know, man.
Yeah.
Like if they had found 3PO at the base. And he was like, "Oh my God, Master Solo, you found me! I've been here the whole time." And he has that red arm. That would make more sense,
Yeah, and we heard that 3PO had the red arm, but we never saw it in the concept art and stuff.
This is more the roots.
Yeah.
Deal, right? All the OG.
Yeah, and they did a few of those that were like straight up Mos Eisley Cantina looking, like with like a woohoo guy and everything. Just obviously just for the vibe of it. Now when you go down to the one right below it of the Jakku village stuff, so these ones right here are interesting because those are actual plates of Jordan that are combined with a bunch of various elements. And sometimes I would like see a piece like of Rey on her popsicle speeder, and I would see that same one composited into another piece of concept art with like different buildings. And
there's the Falcon.
And there was a ton of this approach of Rey coming into to Nema Outpost. And like I said, sometimes you would see the Millennium Falcon and Luke's X-Wing in the background with under tarp.
Is that those pod engines looking back there?
Yeah, there's like a lot of stuff that looks like that. And they did that in Rogue One too. Like, are those pod engines? But they're clearly not. Why would the Rebellion have pod engines, And and that was the that this moment right here is, I think it's actually for when Rey is cleaning stuff up and sees the mother and the daughter cleaning the stuff together and then leaving the planet together. I think this could be depicting that. It could be a coincidence too. But that's also like also not unlike the style of ship that they go for first later on. There was also a lot of stuff showing that ship. It was like a B-1 looking bomber. The front of it became the cockpit for the Ghost in Star Wars Rebels. But you would see that one that ship a lot, and there was even there was like one moment or one piece of concept art, or I should say a series of pieces of concept art that would show them like getting using that bomber. It was like it was Rey's salvager, and it was like the X-Wing pilots on the ground were helping Rey pick up junk for some reason. Like, but there was like a lot of stuff like that with that ship. And but when you see the movie, you're like, oh, I see what they were doing with it, and went a much different way. Open that one right there on the very bottom right.
This one?
Yeah, that one. Yeah. This is one of the very first ones that I ever wrote about. And it was in this series. I ended up getting this one in the series of them. And once again, you have mountains in Jordan composited, I believe, composited onto the piece of art.
Now it's all just stagecraft mountains, Unreal.
Mountains. Yeah. They were, because they were going to film in Jordan originally, so they were like incorporating that into the pieces, which seems pretty smart. But yeah, this is when
engines right there.
I was told that she lived inside of inside the AT-AT, and this is the exact piece actually. But so that's one of my favorite ones.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of the castle stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, bearded Luke.
Old bearded samurai looking Luke, which in a lot of ways I do kind of dig that more than just hippie Luke. San Francisco.
This is MakingStarWars.com Luke.
.com Luke, yeah.
This one's great because this is like the Detours Vader right here.
Yeah. Those they basically like those right there. They did like a ton of these, and all of the stuff. Like one became Phasma, finally one became Kylo, and then a bunch of the extras ended up getting reused into the Knights of Ren and stuff. And I don't remember how things washed out, but or how things went in the canon officially. Back then, I was told that the idea was that Ben had sort of been neglected by his very busy parents. Han is a bad father. Leia is a busy mother. And he essentially starts running around with gangs and just kind of doing bad shit. And
He's a
that's where the
latchkey
Knights,
Jedi.
yeah, and then that's where the Knights of Ren come into his life. Then he's sent to become a Jedi with Luke, and then he ends up getting the gang back together when he turns for whatever reason. And yeah, I'm not sure what the story is now. It's probably even
Instead
dumber.
of the little rascals, it was the little wrens, right?
Yeah,
The little wrens.
yeah, that's pretty rad.
Yeah, that's a good shot.
Yeah. Yeah, there's so many I think that what they what they did with the movie is good. But there was just so much good stuff this film that it's like, man. And like that one up on the upper right, if you go up and right, yeah, that TIE fighter shot, that one right
Embezzling
there,
cars.
yeah, that one made it into the trailer and everything like that, and it was um, going the opposite way though. They had them going forwards and going backwards. And when they made it, it was for Jakku. They didn't need it. They wanted to keep the shot, so they made it. They put it onto Maz Kanata's planet later on. Yeah, yeah. I like the like the concept of or the idea that these are kids living in the apocalyptic aftermath of the Galactic Civil War.
Yeah,
And I kind of wish they had, and I still hope that maybe they do pull on those strings more when they make other films set in the era. This is one of the first pieces that leaked out,
I
by the way.
remember this one.
Yeah, yeah, it was
I was excited about this kind of a composition. We don't get this kind of scale during a fight. It's all very close up, but you know what
yeah.
I mean? Like this level of depth with the ship up there and like on this like uneven terrain, like it's a shame that this sort of thing didn't make it into the fights. It's very just flat earth, like close up.
It was like it was like they instead went with like a very like classic set looking things like that. But I remember that set and seeing pictures of it, and it was pretty intense, like the
Of
trees and
course,
how
it's
they how they
Ryan
how they
Church.
they, they like did it. But yeah, I almost feel like if they had gone that way, it would have felt more like it was CGI and stuff. And
Galaxy's Edge.
yeah, pretty much.
Right.
Yeah, and there's like the shot of that's Han, Ray, and BB-8
Also, you ever play Final Fantasy 12?
a long time ago.
So it was on the PS2. There's a re-release. It's great, and but it has this like Mediterranean look mixed with very a lot of Star Warsy tech.
Mm-hmm.
And when I saw Galaxy's Edge, I'm like, it's literally Final Fantasy 12. And then I look at this, I'm like, that's literally Final Fantasy 12 with all the rugs and the lanterns. It's crazy how
I'm
that worked out.
Believe it or not, I'm a Dragon Quest man. Love me the Dragon
I am
Quest
too.
games. Yeah, I love
It's my
them.
number one. You get you.
Yeah, this one right here, I remember when I got this one and I was just like, whoa, so are they gonna do this? Is this happening? Yeah, because
Two-seater X-wings.
yeah, I think it's cool.
Would have been a good option. Would have been a good if Ray and Finn had been in one, right?
Hmm. Yeah, I mean it would have been cool if they had like the old co-pilot idea, but kind of does make the R2 unit a bit redundant in a weird way. It would almost I've almost would have think it would have been cooler if they moved the middle seat back more and put the droid in between them and then put a little tail gunner on the back. That might have been cool. But
Or if they'd given the droids like a little turret, like
yeah.
Sean Connery shoots right through the X-wing. Oh,
Oh, yeah. I'm sorry, son, but they've got us. Yeah. Yeah, I remember when we learned of BB-8, by the way, down there on the bottom, had a whole series of these, and nobody knew about this guy, and I wrote about him first, and it was from images just like this one. Sometimes he was red too, by the
It's
way,
got the Nike
and
treads on him.
I called him the soccer ball droid. That's the
Right.
only thing, because that's what the scale seemed to imply in most of the concept art. I have a feeling he became bigger when they decided to go for actually making a real one and realizing that by scaling him up a bit, they could do a bit more. Because they didn't know what they can do, but man, what was that company who made the little tiny one?
Oh
The little,
yeah,
they were,
yeah.
that was brilliant. One of the,
The
I think
RC
that's,
ones.
it was just like, yeah, but it was like one of the best toys, I think, that
Yeah.
best Star Wars toys ever made. It's brilliant. But yeah,
Red arm.
right. Yeah, this one I didn't see back in the day. I didn't know what her ship was going to look like, I don't think.
This is one of those toys that you'd get on clearance at
Mhm.
KB's, and you'd make it way bigger in your home adventures than it ever really appeared in a film.
It looks like if you just took the ends of them, like a Kenner mini rig with like a piece of cargo put in the middle of them,
Yeah, it's kind of
which
like the Cloud City cars a little bit too, meets the
kind of,
A-Wing, right?
yeah,
A little
it
bit.
kind of reminds me of the front of the shuttle Tidarium, like the cockpit almost, like its shape,
Sure.
anyways. But yeah, it kind of has that. It's pulling on a bunch of stuff, but it's ultimately, I think, a pretty forgettable. For as good as everything is, it's pretty forgettable. Yeah, that's pretty rad. And so, like, I have a feeling that these ones right here are the touched up ones.
Yeah, it's pretty clean compared to what
Yeah,
a concept art is usually. And
because
where's
like,
the caretakers, dude? Like, wouldn't they be here greeting her and like giving her back, checking her
ah,
clothes,
they don't they
de-germing
don't
her?
they don't even like her. They kind of hate her.
Right off the bat, they're like, we can just tell we don't like you.
We don't like you. We don't like your kind.
Yeah. We don't like your kind.
Yeah. All right. So
We don't
let's
like orphans.
should we see what the chat has to say for a little bit? See
Yeah,
what, if
let's
there's
jump
anything that
into
we
the
missed.
chat, my friend.
We might not even understand it now. Who knows? So, Kane was looking forward to this. Thanks, Kane.
At the end, he's like, not worth it.
At the end, he's like, "That's what I was looking forward to." Geek Race will never forgive us for yesterday when I not only crashed but messed up what time it was, and then
I didn't get my free show longer.
yeah, right. People were working on Rogue One throughout it. Thought it was Makari, so that's how Rumorville works, even on set.
Yeah,
Yeah,
no
and Thrawn Talk podcast. Congrats on the battle royale win the other night. Oh yeah, yeah. He on his I think it's his son gets on his account, and then I don't use a headset, like, because I don't want my kids. He doesn't either, but I don't want my kids using the headset. So I'm like, no, we all play together. We don't use headsets. Play as much as you want online, but you can't talk to anybody. And
right.
so anyways, we all so we can't talk. So it's kind of like a game of like sign language half the time. Like, please follow me here. But
You gotta do the clone trooper.
but yeah, I think we've got like 3 or 4 victory royales now. We are tearing stuff up. Me and his kid, we've seen some shit, you guys. Ian McDermott turned 77 today, says Eric Denton. Hey, Eric.
Yeah, Tom Cruise calls him McD.
Yeah. Like it's kind of weird. Like when somebody makes or has like a Star Wars thing and they follow me, I always try to follow them back to like support them, and like if they do something, I'll try to retweet it or whatever, or share it if I can. But there's this thing that happens now, and like I don't know if this is just me getting old and codgery, but they just like they just say happy birthday to everyone. So it's like every day, like the only thing that you see people saying happy birthday to some actor who doesn't give a shit and doesn't see it. I'm just like, I don't get it.
I guess we care they're still alive, not so much as they're getting older, right? Like, hey, they made it, versus,
Yeah.
I guess I get it, but
yeah, I'm just an asshole. That's fair.
Yo, codger.
I'm having flashbacks, and now this is podcasting. Yeah, we had to break that one down like in little steps, and then we did one where we just broke like the whole movie down before it came out, which was really, really cool. That night and the when we went to the Mandalorian set and did a podcast from the Mandalorian set. I because the funny part about it is we were the first podcast to ever podcast on a Star Wars set.
That's
You know,
right, and no award.
and there never was another one. But
how'd you never get an award for that? Like,
when it finally, we won the podcast awards back when
okay.
back when I was liked. Tell that to Country Club.
We took it back.
Took it back. Tell 7 octopus type things do not belong in Star Wars. Dianoga.
I know. It's literally
the aliens,
a giant tentacle monster.
Tell 7 says the aliens in the sequel trilogy sucked. Every one of them. In terms of like, yeah, I thought it was a mistake. Well, like I like the Red Corsair dude, who was also a Kylo Ren piece of concept art, I believe, as well. I believe he was in that batch of Kylo Ren stuff that I received. I like them for what they are. I don't think they're shit onto themselves, but what I don't like is that they didn't mix it up with classic ones. And I think a little goes a long way. You didn't need to put in 15 Twi'leks and 15 Mon Calamaris and all that stuff. You could have just done one here and there, and it would have allowed for the new creatures to have been better, and it would have helped. But Geek Fairy says people who don't like octopus type things in Star Wars don't belong in Star Wars. I think it's okay to not like things, but I married an octopus from Star Wars, you monster.
I married.
And you broke all 3 of her hearts.
I'm Octodad.
Hey, it's me.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Daniel says, if there are space whales, there are octopi in Star Wars.
This was not true. The argument I thought we were going to have today. Like, this is
amazing. These guys are like living their own life while you make fart noises, and I read from an Excel sheet.
Look, that's how we pay the bills around here, buddy. All right.
Thrawn talk. It's those space spiders that give me the willies. Space spiders don't belong in Star Wars.
To do the whole movie with space spiders, and I wouldn't let him.
Gary Kurtz wanted space snails.
Jet hates spiders.
Yeah. Geek says everyone is reasonable if you just talk to them. Oh, sweet summer child. Yes. It's true. I've had to learn this lesson over and over and over again. And then we end up in a pandemic and I see, oh, geez, you were naive.
It's as if nobody in this country ever went to the DMV,
Yeah. And I was listening to Bill Burr's podcast today, and he was talking about anti-vaxxers or whatever, and he goes like imagine those guys going to the auto mechanic, and he's like, hey, you've blown a couple cylinders, I don't think you should drive your car, and he's like, fuck you, fake news. He tells it way better, obviously, but it was pretty hilarious. Throntalk says, I'm just waiting for the live action version of Von Skurs. It's Santa Claus. Check out Star Wars Santa's show, you guys, if you haven't before. Work meetings today. Can't stick around, but wanted to stop in, leave a like, and drop in a comment. Thanks, dude. Yeah, we will have to see. I'll try to remember to do his Bad Batch prediction this week because it's the last one. I should try for it. I didn't do it. I did not do it because I flunked so hard the first time. It was just that I'm really bad with time management and I forgot every time. It does suck.
You proved that yesterday.
Yeah, big time. I mean,
on the air.
Yeah. Yeah. I feel bad for my kids. They start school tomorrow, and it means that they can't stay up to watch the last episode of Bad Batch.
Oh no!
But I'm going to.
Dad privileges.
So he's all Randy looks different now and spells his name Rob. Yeah, I was like, well, what if we just get another guy with an R name? Maybe no one will notice. Rendezvous. French doesn't belong in Star Wars. And hey, how's it going, Des? Thank you for being a channel member, Des, as always. Loving
notice my red arm.
This recap of TFA. Swinging Through Comics says, blinking lights in the dark is a good aesthetic. Might be a good album name too. It's true.
I like the way you think, Swinging.
Yep. He's a swinger. That's our swinger friend. That's what we'll start calling him. It's our swinger friend.
You just took it down that path, didn't you?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he swings. He's cool. Thrawn talked about Zuvio black and white cut. Yeah, right.
And it's in 4:3.
Yeah. I'm just glad Baba Joe made it in. Imagine if he hadn't. Swinging Through Comics says, is the other weapon the ramming ships that end up in Rogue One? That's exactly where we were going with it. Yeah. Kane says, so original journey of the lightsaber is Cloud City, Jakku, BB-8, Maz. It goes like Cloud City. It goes to Naka, finds it, and brings it back into the fold. Then it ends up being he burns down his house and then sells it to a rich guy.
Here's an old Nazi lightsaber.
Yeah, and then it sells it to like a rich guy, and then and then how it ends up where it does for them in the beginning is still a little bit murky. Like the original journey of that lightsaber is still kind of hard to follow.
How does the hand float in space?
Yeah,
with this, holding the saber. There was people buying the saber, right? Like that's in the same.
Well, no. It's the hand. So the idea was it float. It falls off. Like it's like Bespin has no bottom, and it falls into there, and then eventually the hand is flung out into a space, and it's frozen. It doesn't burn up there though. This is the part people criticize the burning up thing, but they did it wrong. It would have burned up leaving Bespin's atmosphere, but it doesn't do that. Then when it goes to Jakku or the Savannah planet for that matter, that was where it was going to the hand was going to burn up in the atmosphere, and then just the saber lands. Naka finds it. But I really feel like if they had went that way, who fucking cares? Like it visually sounds rad. It sounds like something that like a very King Arthur kind of thing, you know? It's like, who knows, man? Who knows why?
It lands in a lake.
Yeah. Yeah, Lady in the Lake.
Been crazy.
Yeah. And hey, Mark Hamilton, how's it going, dude? Swinging Through Comics at Kane. Based on what they discussed here, isn't it like Cloud City, Maz, Wealthy Dude, Lord Jakku, BB-8, Maz again, Finn, Ray. Yeah, that is. I think our swinger friend has the best understanding of it. That makes the most sense to me. And the idea is, and even when it comes back to Maz, I think she's like, this belongs with Ray. And it just seemed to imply so much more in Ray's backstory, but there was obviously no
nobody.
But there was but I don't think that's not Ryan's fault though.
I'm not blaming Ryan at all. What I'm saying is okay, they set something up. Ryan goes, here's something you didn't expect, right? And then they go, no. Like that's the problem, right? Yeah. Like if you're going to set up a series of films where each person who comes in is going to add, you have to then build off what they add. You don't go, no. Like that's the problem. Otherwise, then it makes Ryan look like makes him look like he's the one who like, you know what I mean? It makes him look bad in a way. Like, I'm like, that's unfair. It's not, you left it open. So he made an answer and then you're like, nope. So that's
and had JJ been a producer more than in name and more than during the production of his film, it might have worked better for all three of them.
More McCollum like,
it's just that, like, yeah, I mean, when you get down to it, JJ should have been so firm and clear in his first movie that where it was going to go, Ryan had no choice but to take it there, and he didn't do that. He played the ambiguity card,
You
And
have
then
vocalized my thoughts completely. Yes.
yeah, and it's like that's why, like, for me, like, when I watch it, I'm like, it doesn't like go like, oh, 7 and then it starts to go down at 8 or something like that. For me, it's 7 and it goes up at 8 and then it goes below. It dives for 9 for me
Oh
for that
yeah.
reason, you know. Yeah, and then it's like when you just grade the films by their own merits, like Last Jedi is the best one, but when you take the whole trilogy into account, 9 just really kind of makes the whole thing very wonky. You know, if you just look at it from a lore perspective only, it starts to be like, oh, there were so many missed opportunities to talk about how Rey is a Palpatine here, and you guys aren't doing it. You guys are pretending like she's nobody instead. It's like it doesn't make a lot of sense. But Mark says, who are the 3 apparent front runners do you want to get cast as Sabine? Yeah, are there apparent front runners? Was that listed in that trade piece? Because I didn't see it. And for he's talking, I wanted to actually do a video on this today. I ended up doing 2 little solo videos. I was like, we're going to talk about this for 2 hours. I was like, I better just do those really quickly before. And so I did those, and then I was like, oh, the Sabine one, I forgot. And it's one of the trades. Heat Vision, THR Heat Vision is saying that Sabine is being cast, and I don't think they put names, but if they did, we'll do a whole thing on it tomorrow.
It's Jason Mewes.
But in my opinion, I always prefer unknowns for younger characters. You know, if Ahsoka even had been an unknown, I wouldn't have minded. But the fact that they went with Rosario Dawson is great. I'm cool with that. But for the most part, unknowns work best for me. Hello, Dell. Hello there. I knew you went live, but I got invited to lunch with my sister.
Such a personal statement.
Yeah, I was like,
yeah, Chipotle called. So
he's so nice. I almost want to come back and be like, oh, because I was at lunch with your mom, kind of joke. But he's so nice, I'm not going to do it. Instead, I'm going to defer to our swinger friend. How many times did you watch The Last Starfighter, Rob?
In the theater, 3. I
3
saw
times?
it when it came out in the theater, man. Well, at the time, here's how it worked. At that time, you could go into a theater and everyone just left the theater and went to another movie and didn't pay for it. Like that was I saw The Last Starfighter, Star Trek 3, and The Bachelor Party in a rotation 3 times that day with my uncle. You know, we just kept going in and out of these, and you go into them when they're already running. So you just kind of stay till you saw the last part, like it sync back up, and then you walk out and go to the next movie.
I saw it with one time at the drive-in with Beverly Hills Cop.
There you go.
Yeah. I actually saw The Last Starfighter when it opened, and for whatever reason, as a kid, the moment is not that good either. But as a kid, it has his girlfriend looking up, and it's like you see like sparks flying or like lights flashing in her face, and she's like, "Alex Rogan, I love you." And I was like, "Damn, space adventure! I gotta go see that." I was like pumped. I'm like, cute chicks like you if you fly spaceships. I want to do that. And
that's what Finn thinks.
Yeah, right. You can't fly. No, and so I went and saw it, and I love that movie. But you watch that shot now or that moment now, and you're like, oh, this moment sucks. It's really not. I
guess you're being harsh. You know?
Yeah, I mean, it's not particularly like it's not like uplifting, but it as a 4 or 5-year-old, I was.
It's trying to make 2 characters connect without using the dyad cop out. So you know what I mean? I went there. Right.
Thrawn Doc says Patton Oswalt for Sabine.
Yes.
Mark Hamilton loves the concept books.
Sure.
Thrawn Talk says Saber Journey would be like Dragonfly opening in Men in Black. So yeah. I mean, like, you know, ultimately, like, I think when you look at The Force Awakens, it does have a lot of remake qualities to it. I do think that you shut down a ton of original ideas and content by just minimizing the whole effort into that. I think it was like, I think that he was doing what the company wanted and doing what people wanted or thought they wanted said they wanted, what the market required it be, which wasn't a George Lucas movie that made you rethink everything about Star Wars and expanded it once again. It was like, no, that was a promise or an idea that we're going to return back to what you liked about Star Wars. And so I think he had not a long time and a really hard job. And I think on that one, he did a really good job of doing what the mission was. Not to my preference exactly in every single way. Obviously, I've been pretty critical today, but I think what he did do in this one allowed for a Last Jedi that is really, really, I think, stellar. But then he lets me down on the ninth one when he decides not to be creative enough to take that ball into some place he never would have went. He decided to return to his comfort zone, right?
Also,
So,
also, you know, man, don't, and this is something I don't like with
mm-hmm,
these newer films as a whole,
mm-hmm,
is don't hire all these artists and have them create amazing iconic imagery and then go on set and shoot fuck all. Like,
yeah,
use these shots. These shots, you translate these shots literally to the screen. Like, that is what really worked strongest when Lucas did his, I mean, he was only limited in the OG trilogy by the capabilities of production. Now you
right,
can do whatever. And on the prequels, when you get those iconic shots that were actually in the film and it lines up to the art, especially like the Doug Chang pod racer shot, right?
mm-hmm,
Like, you know, when those are in the movie, you're like, that works great. Like, use their, I like this, the shot again, the shot on the snow where the two lightsabers are fighting and the Falcons in the background, like that. Man, a whole movie can hang on a shot like that. Like, you're hiring all these people, and with
yeah.
especially with Ryan and Doug and these guys who have like 20 years of Star Wars experience behind them, and you're just like, when you get there, you're like, oh, we'll frame it this way, it's fine. Like, I don't see the point. I don't see the point.
Yeah, you get that, you get that more like when you see Jakku and like the Star Destroyer graveyard and stuff like that. That's when you see that stuff happening a bit more. But yeah, at the same time, like I don't know if the idea was to take it back to a New Hope's level aesthetics or something like that, where it like make it feel like the original trilogy, where it was like a small set and this is more intimate. And even though
Well,
it's really
it
kind
would
of
have been
not.
nice if this was called the epilogue trilogy,
Mm-hmm.
where you were saying it's like in the aftermath of this war, and everyone is, and there was more wars that occurred after the film. So this is like after all the wars that broke out after the Empire fell,
Yeah.
and there's just shit everywhere, and these people live in this like post-apocalyptic, and they're trying to build something out of it, you know. And
Mm-hmm.
rather than call it the sequel trilogy, it should be called the epilogue trilogy, but it doesn't epilogue,
Yeah.
you know, like it just doesn't. So.
Yeah, I mean, like in terms of like the way I would take it further, even from here, is I would still use that idea and still lean into it, because you do kind of see this really big, cool, hopeful ending where the whole galaxy shows up in their spaceships essentially and helps at the end of episode 9. Um, but what if they don't agree about what's going to come next? Because you're going to have people who want to do what they just did twice and failed twice, and people are like, we're going to do something completely different, and they could go to war. And so, and then you could set that kind of story against the backdrop of Rey and the new Jedi trying to start a new Jedi Order, and then having the new Jedi be the thing that actually, in the end, unifies the Republic back together. You know what I mean? Because they don't ever really get that. At least we don't think so. There's a lot of stories that they could do with Luke in that 30 years while there's a new Republic, and what that can mean. They might go that way. It might, but at the same time, you kind of get the vibe at times that it didn't really get a chance to develop into that big of a of a powerhouse. It's pretty small. If Kylo's able to take it out in one go, anyway, and I have to assume that there aren't any more Jedi running around the galaxy in your like usual way. And when I say, I mean, I'm sure there's Ahsoka types out there, but like you're like Jedi kind of people.
I
They
mean that
probably.
that episode 9, there's a multiverse option where episode 9 was a seven samurai, where she finds out there's like a few Jedi left, from that, and she, in the beginning part of the film, she rounds them up, right, to help fight the fucking thing, and it's like, put the samurai 7 together to help defend the village, or in this case, the galaxy from the invaders, right? Like,
right. Yeah, Daniel says episode 9 just resets the Star Wars universe back to episode 6 status with different characters. It really needs to take a leap in the way The Last Jedi did. Yeah, I'm
past that.
with you. And but like one of the most important questions that I think George Lucas ever answered, about Star Wars is when Eric Denton asked, "Is The Last Starfighter about spaceships?"
It's not about spaceships. It's not about spaceships. It's not about spaceships.